Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2013 BMW X1 28i. Up front is a 2.0 liter turbocharged inline 4, and down below is an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this here X1 because I've only reviewed one X1 before, and that was the newer generation. That was the second generation of the X1. This is the first generation, and that's a big deal, and I'll talk about why towards the end of the video. But if you would like to help out the channel, I have my website, zackpradel.com, where you can buy stickers, or you could submit your own car for review. There's a whole submission form on there. Or check out my blog. I write blog posts about the cars that I'm currently filming and what you can expect to see on the channel and other things that I'm excited for like that. So please go check out zackpradel.com, or you can email me at pradelreviews@gmail.com. All that stuff will be found in the description below. But let's get back to that 2.0 liter turbocharged inline 4. Well, it makes 240 horsepower, which is nothing to thumb your nose at, especially in a smaller SUV like this. Now, you could find these with the straight 6 as well. Now, I've driven a couple BMWs with this engine, and I like it. I think it does make a good amount of power, like I just said, and the owner, Chris, which, thank you, Chris, for letting me do this review, has put an exhaust on this car, so it does sound a little bit different. Like I said, paired to it is an 8-speed automatic transmission, which was new for the 2011 model year. 2009 to 2011 came with a 6-speed automatic. This actually comes with the 8-speed, and BMW does a really good job with their transmissions, and the 8-speed is no different. Last but not least about the drivetrain of the X1 is the fact that this one is all-wheel drive. This has the xDrive system. However, you could find these in rear-wheel drive, which is interesting. They were rear-wheel drive if you didn't get all-wheel drive, which is very contrary to most SUVs. Normally, it's either all-wheel drive or front-wheel drive. They're all front-wheel drive biased, but this is actually rear-wheel drive biased. The reason for that is because this platform is actually shared with the E93 series from BMW, which the E90 M3 is one of my favorite cars ever with the 4-liter V8. Fantastic engine. And so this actually shares a platform with it. This is technically a lifted, rebodied hatchback 3 Series, and I like that a lot. With that out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have the very typical BMW gauges. On the left is my speedometer and fuel, and on the right is my tachometer and MPG gauge. In the center, I do get a little amber digital readout. Again, very typical of BMW. They've been using these sort of amber readouts since the early 2000s. On the steering wheel on the left, I have my volume controls, phone options, and voice commands. And then on the right, I do have skip track, but I also have this little circle button. This is for the climate controls, and I so miss having climate controls on steering wheels of cars. That is absolutely fantastic, and BMW did this throughout the late 2000s, early 2010s, and I wish they would bring it back. The steering wheel itself feels very modern, feels and looks really good, especially for a steering wheel that's 9 years old. I would not be able to tell. Off to the left, of course, I just have my headlight switches and fog light switch. And on the door, I have my power mirrors and power windows. Moving into the center, we do have an infotainment screen. This is BMW's iDrive system. Here's the thing. I personally don't like this infotainment system, the actual software of it. I've driven a bunch of BMWs with it, and it's very hit or miss. Sometimes it works fabulously. And I hope for whatever BMW product you have, it works fabulously too. But I've also driven other high mileage BMWs where the system doesn't like to function anymore the way it should. It gets laggy, it gets glitchy, it drops phone pairings for no reason, that sort of thing. So right here in the X1, this is actually working out really nice. I'm pleasantly enjoying it. And sadly, I actually do not get a backup camera. Down below that infotainment screen, I have 2 climate control vents and the climate controls themselves. I do get dual zone climate, which is fantastic. I get heated seats, which is fantastic. And everything I want, I can control right here. And like I said, there are those steering wheel controls. So while driving, I don't have to touch it too much. Then I do have a CD player. Pretty standard spec there. And down at the very bottom, I do have a couple interesting buttons for Eco Pro mode, a little bit of fuel savings there, traction control off, hill descent control, which is great, and the automatic start-stop on and off, which is also super, super fantastic. And then I have the shifter itself. I call this the new BMW shifter, but obviously they've been using this for well over a decade at this point. I still think it's a little weirdly shaped, and the button on the side is a little unergonomic, but at the end of the day, I've gotten used to these shifters. I think they look presentable, and that's fine. At the very bottom of the center console, I do have controls for that center screen. Very, very tactile. The knob feels good. It has good clicks. It's very satisfying, and I fully put my trust into it while using it. I think between this and Mazda, they have the best scroll wheels in the industry, and they feel identical. So there's that. But now I do have two cup holders, so we'll do a big freaking bottle test here in the X1, and unfortunately in both it fails. To be expected. However, I thought with maybe two different cup holders we'd have a better shot, but at the end of the day, unfortunately, it does not pass. Then I do get a handbrake and a little center console. And then we got to talk about the seats. The seats aren't anything too special. They are heated, which is very, very nice. And they're very comfortable. I'm sitting here, I mentioned in the last video I just did, I slipped on ice yesterday and my back really hurts. And I'm not in any pain sitting in these seats, which is fantastic and sometimes hard to find. But speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2013 BMW X1 28i. This is where you start to notice that this is a smaller chassis than, say, the X3, the X2, whatever it might be. I'm pretty squished back here, at least knee room. Now, the driver could be nice and move up a little bit more, but at the end of the day, it's still going to be a pretty small back seat. I wouldn't rely on these back seats. If I had a family or anything like that, I wouldn't, again, rely on these. However, as someone that just has a significant other and that's it, I would definitely still consider this. I drive a Mazda 3, and that back seat is nearly unusable too. I've used it a handful of times in my life. It's been nice to have, but not a necessity. And so this is where you really start to notice that the X1 is a smaller chassis than an X3. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I'm not completely sold on the X1's exterior. I think it looks nice and presentable, but I don't think it would win any design contest. I think it does look a little bit dated at this point. However, it is a 9-year-old vehicle. How can it not? It's also lower than I thought, but longer than I thought. I always think of these as tiny little hatchbacks, but they're not really. They still have adequate space, as you've seen throughout the video, and as I'll continue to share. However, I do want to get to my final thoughts here on the BMW X1. Well, like I said, I drove another X1, a 2018, I believe a 28i as well. And I liked it, but it was kind of a run-of-the-mill hatchback. That car shares a platform with a Mini Cooper. It even has the same gear shifter as the Mini Cooper. It is, for all intended purposes, a rebadged, body-swapped Mini Cooper Countryman. And that's fine, but it's not exciting, or different, or unique, or, in all honesty, interesting. This is built off the E90 3 Series platform. It's a rear-wheel drive platform. It's sporty, it's fun, and when BMW designed this generation, the first generation of X1, the designer came out and said, we are doing something that BMW has never done before. We are building a car for everyone. Grandparents will love it because it's higher up and it's easy to get into. Kids will love it because it's sporty and it's a BMW. Everyone in between is going to find something that they like about the car. In years past, BMW was kind of a enthusiast or luxury brand. If you had big dough, you could buy a 7 Series, like this V12 from the 90s that I drove, or name any of the M3s that I've driven. They're enthusiast cars, and they even market themselves as the ultimate driving machine, not the ultimate commuter car, not the ultimate soccer mom mobile, ultimate driving machine. And so when they designed the X1, they turned a fresh page. And you know what? I think it worked. There is something for everyone in this car. My parents, who are not car enthusiasts, would enjoy this car. They like having their car a little bit higher up. They like the prestige of a BMW. It has very nice features in here, like the heated seats, like the infotainment system, and the nice wood grain accents. I like it because I like that little 2-liter turbo, and it makes the cool noises, and the seating position I can change and sit a little bit lower. However, I am still sitting up higher, and I have the all-wheel drive, so as you can see, it's icy and snowy out today, but that's not an issue with this. I think they really did achieve building a car for everyone. And the interesting thing is that they sell about 1/3 to 1/4 the amount of X1s here in the US as they do in Europe, and about an equal amount here as they do in China. This really is, like I've been saying, built for everyone. Or I think I'm going to title this Something for Everyone. Yeah, we'll stick with that. That sounds better. I like it. It's not a rebadged Mini Cooper, this one. Later generations were, but not this. There really is something for everyone. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Chris for letting me take out his X1. This was really eye-opening, and I was so excited to get behind the wheel of another X1, and especially a first gen. They're so much better than the second gen, and that's all thank you to Chris. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.